We're back. Yo, give my man a round of applause.
Vinyl Esquire. You're listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire.
Podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. Vinyl Esquire with DJ Rip.
What's poppin', y'all? One time, KID business in the building. I'ma take y'all somewhere else. Okay? I'ma send y'all the number.
Vinyl Esquire.
Mixtape that I ever bought. I was like, oh, this is hot. And realized, oh, this is something I could do. It was Kid Capri.
Vinyl Esquire.
Old school beater things, you know what I'm saying? With the light skin brother DJ, get ready, the chief rock star child in the house at this time. Saying what's up to the laws of funk, money mall, still with D, Papa Duke, G Smooth, as we proceed to do it like
Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire.
You know what it is. People, please turn it down. We out. First, let me introduce you to your judges. Chief Party Rocker, the Black Italian Stallion, the one and only Kid Capri.
Vinyl Esquire.
I'm a gorilla in this shit.
If you love hip-hop music, reach to the side. Reach up in the air right now. Let me see you. Reach to the class right now.
Vinyl
Now, I
Esquire.
have a question real quick. Y'all want me to play new shit or you want me to play old shit? Let's get it in.
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music. Would you join me, please, in welcoming DJ Rip?
Hello world, I would like to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, and my name is DJ Rip. And Vinyl Esquire is the legendary podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. So without further ado, I would like to welcome the legendary DJ, producer, artist, the Black Italian Stallion, Mr. Every Era, Mr. Shake Shit Up, Mr. Sucker Free, coined the world's greatest DJ, David Love Jr., a.k.a. the legendary DJ Kid Capri.
What's happening, Rip?
Kid, how you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing? You all right?
Man, I'm great, man. I just want to thank you for allowing me to interview you on Vinyl Esquire. You got the new album, the Love album out. It's incredible. And, you know, I want to talk about it.
Yes, sir. Let's get to it.
Absolutely. So, you know, before we get to the album, I want to ask you a couple questions that led to this and got us here, okay? If that's all right with you.
That's cool.
All right, cool. Let's do this. Okay, so from the beginning, Kid, can you tell me who or what made you want to DJ in the first place?
I mean, music always been in my family, so as a little kid when it started, that was it. It was inevitable. You know, I seen it for the first time from a dude named DJ B. Ward, and I knew I wanted to be that. And the rest was history. Absolutely.
So what was your first DJ name?
DJ Dr. Spank.
Nice. Dr. Spank.
Bad.
So when would you say you actually started DJing? What year?
76.
Got you. So what was your moment when you graduated from Dr. Spank to Kid Capri? What was that moment for you?
When I was called Kid Capri from a friend of ours named Olga Carter.
Got you. So she just suggested you should use this name as a DJ.
Yeah.
Got you. So what was the moment, you know what I mean, when you really started doing it there in the Bronx, right? What was it? Was it the park jams? Was it the mixtapes? Was it the parties? What was the true beginning for Kid Capri musically?
The mixtapes didn't come till later. The beginning was the beginning of hip-hop. I was watching it from the beginning as a little kid. So that was the beginning part. All the other stuff came after, and that's what made me want to do it. It was just the rhyming and the break beats. That's it. It was not even playing it wasn't even really playing whole records. It was just cutting and scratching and rapping. That was it.
Got you. So one other question about your beginnings. What was the breakthrough for Kid Capri? Not when you became, a national star, not that moment. What was the breakthrough when you became, from Kid Capri, the local DJ, to that moment when you get ready to either get your first deal or your first exposure to the industry, not nationally? What was that moment, though? What was the breakthrough moment?
The breakthrough moment was when I started to do the tapes, the mixtapes, sitting on the street corner selling mixtapes. That's what got me known. That's what got me my first album, deal radio, deal television show, and everything from there. Had I not done that, we probably wouldn't be talking right now.
Well, I'm glad you did. So, Kid, I've always felt like you were one of the best DJs to ever do it. You embodied what I believe Flash and the other legends, you know, and the founders created and started in the 70s, right? I've always felt like you personally embodied it and mastered it. However, I've also felt like personally you're a triple threat. And this is what I mean by that. To me, you're an incredible DJ. And I believe you get your accolades for being an incredible DJ, you know, and what you've done for the DJ culture and hip hop. However, you're also an incredible producer. And I don't believe you get your accolades for your production, but we're going to get into that later. You're also an artist who rhymes, and you rhyme on the level that very few DJs have ever done. You're a true triple threat. So you rhyme, you produce, and you DJ at the highest level possible. Okay? With that being said, I want to put you on a fast track. I want to deliver the audio biography in 2 or 3 minutes of Kid Capri, because I believe you are a true triple threat and you're a one of one. So here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the fast track of Kid Capri. I'm going to start with just you as a DJ. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong. I may miss some things, you know, but humor me. Here we go. Okay. You helped pioneer the mixtape game from the 80s and the 90s. You dominated the club and tour scene across the country for over 30 years. You DJ'd 7 seasons of Def Comedy Jam and one of the first DJs to spin on national TV and cable. You appeared in the film Who's the Man? I would say you helped craft the R&B acapella hip-hop beat mixtape style that eventually crafted legends like Mary J. Blige and the whole R&B hip-hop movement. You were the main judge on Smirnoff's Master of the Mix DJ show on BET. You pioneered and mastered the party rockin' DJ style. So many DJs across the world basically coined their styles behind. You're on the Bronx Walk of Fame. You're featured on Kendrick Lamar's album. You've been sampled dozens and dozens of times for other hit records. You hand-delivered the 45 King beat to Jay-Z, giving us the hit record Hard Knock Life. And recently, as a DJ, you tore Madison Square Garden down for Verzuz, and you appeared on Drink Champs. Now, as a producer, you're a Grammy winner. You produce records for KRS-One, Big L, Jay-Z, Madonna, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, and more. And once again, like I said, your voice has been sampled on dozens and dozens and dozens of records. Now, as an artist, you put out your debut album in 1991 called The Tape with the single Apollo on Cold Chillin' and Warner Brothers Records. You released your second album, Soundtrack to the Streets, in 1998 with the Trackmasters on Columbia Records. In 2022, you've now released the Love album, album number 3. So now, let's talk about it. Okay.
That's a long list. I didn't know you knew all that stuff, did Rip?
Hey man, let
job,
me tell you something, man. I respect you, okay? And I love you as a DJ, and I know I probably didn't even do you justice, because I'm sure that's a third of what you done. But I just wanted to paint the picture of what, not who. We all know who Kid Capri is, but I don't think everybody knows what Kid Capri is. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to paint the picture. You're a triple threat in my mind. Dope producer, MC, and DJ. Okay, now let's talk about it. The Love album. It was released on No Kidding Records, distributed through Empire, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, 19 tracks. All right. Yep. All right. The Love album. 19 bangers. All written and produced by you.
Yep.
You rhymed on every record.
Yep.
You did the hooks on every record that doesn't have a feature. And there's only 3 features on the album. I believe it's Vina Love, your daughter.
Yep.
I believe it's an R&B singer named Lonell or Lovell. Lavelle, okay.
Yep.
And then the legendary reggae artist Lexus. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, 19 songs you wrote, produced the whole album. And you are a DJ.
Yep.
It's not an album full of features. However, it is on a high level and dope from top to bottom. Okay. Now, can you just give me just a quick, because this is what I want to do. I want to talk about I'm going to pull about 10 records out of the 19 that I love, and I want you to give me a quick snapshot of these songs. I don't just want to talk about the album. I want to dissect the album quickly.
Okay.
So, Kid, can you tell me what was the true motivation behind doing the Love album right now?
Yeah, so I seen the quarantine happen. You know, I've been on the road for a long time. My bread and butter never been making records. I make records whenever I want to, but it never been something that I depended on to take care of me, anything like that. I did it, you know, like I said, when I wanted to. So I only have 2 albums out. But when the quarantine happened, I decided that, you know, I did everything with the DJ business. You know, let me just pull away from it for a second. Still do my shows and everything like that. But let me pull away from it for a second and just do something different. So I wrote Slap Key. When I wrote Slap Key, it was like, you know, good Lord was like, just told me to keep going. And I kept writing and kept producing. I would already have beats and, you know, stuff like that I was working on, but I just kept writing to the beats. Next thing you know, I had 16 songs. People was telling me, you know, that's too long. You should only put 5 songs out. People's attention spans is longer. It's short. So I added 3 more songs and made it 19. And I went against everything everybody told me to do because, first of all, if you look at it, I had everything against me. You know, I'm not known for making records all the time. I'm not known for rhyming all the time. I'm not known for, you know, I got a messed up industry. I had certain DJs hating on certain things I would put out. So I had a lot of things against me. And with that being said, I still went and did it. So that's a testament of the show. Don't let nobody tell you what to do or when to do it or try to get in between what you're trying to do. And it ended up coming out the way it did. The reason why I called it The Love, my last name is Love. My mother's on the album cover. My daughter's on my single, Uptown. You know, so it's a family thing, but it's the love for the music. It's the love for everything I do. It's the love for the fans. It's the love for my family. You know, so it all gelled together. And it made sense, especially for the time that it came out. It's 24 years later since my last album. So that's love to be able to come out with an album that sound like this. And I don't make records all the time. You know, not to toot my own horn, but like you said, I sound just like I sound like one of the greats on that mic. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing it a long time. I listen to the album right now and I impress myself like, wow, this is really good. You know, and
Right.
Because I don't really do it all the time. It's never been nothing that. But I just wanted to show the world I am a triple threat and I can do these things. I never like going to sessions and people's sessions talking about, I got beats, let me get in your album. So I figured if I put my album out, they'll hear this and they'll come to me and ask for the writing and ask for the beats and, you know, help them arrange their stuff. And we do it like that to give you a different leverage. So that's where it came from.
Got you. Well, again, the album is dope. And it's a great body of work. So I want to dissect it a little bit and talk about some of the records, so our listeners could, you know, maybe go download particular records, the whole album. But I want to dig a little deeper into the record. So let's talk about track number 1, the intro or the beginning of the album. Song number 1, "The Truth Will Never Lie." So this particular song, I listen to it. It's a heartfelt song. You talk about death. You talk about bringing people together. It really is the embodiment of love. Give me your reason for making "The Truth Will Never Lie."
A lot going on in the world, man. A lot of things going on in the world that is not very normal since this pandemic happened. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, somebody got to put in the minds of people that it's all right to understand that you don't always have to be destructional. You know what I'm saying? You could go and you could sit down and realize what's going on around you and say, you know what, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am the reason why things are going the way it's going. I'm blaming everybody else. Let me blame myself and take responsibility. It's a lot going on in the world, and people, you know, with internet, people have accessibility to do whatever they want to do, and the wrong people will be doing it. You know what I'm saying? They bring the wrong things to, you know, to people's minds as far as like, you know, why is it that you seeing somebody, like I said on my record, you watching somebody kick somebody in their head 30 times, 30 people kicking somebody in their head. Nobody out of that crowd thinks that man could die and all of us is responsible. Nobody thinks that this man is by himself, you know, how scared that man is for his life. Like nobody thinks that. You just kick this man in his head, stomp him in his head, hit him in the head with a brick, with all kinds of, like, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? What are you trying to do? You're not thinking that man dies, everybody goes? Like, nobody's thinking this far?
Right, right.
And so at the end of the day, if nobody says nothing, it's just going to keep going, get wild, and keep going. I'm not saying I'm changing the world, but if I can get people to think this way, then maybe things will go different.
Absolutely. It's a great way to start the album. It fits the the whole concept and the title very well. Let's go to song number 2, Sucker Free. This is one of my favorite tracks on the album. So Sucker Free, I mean, you got a clothing line. So it's like a real-time commercial, right? So talk to me about track 2, Sucker Free.
Yeah, I wanted to be the first to I always try to do things innovative. I always try to do things first and people try to catch on. And that was one of the things I wanted to do, was put a commercial on my album and make it the second record for my clothing line. I could have put it in the middle of the album. I could have put it at the end of the album, but I made it the second song so that you pay attention right away. And if you listen to it, you can dance to it. It ain't like a commercial type of record for a clothing line that you just listen to. You can really party to that record.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I designed it that way. So, so that's what it is, man. To make awareness for Sucker Free clothing line. I'm dressing the country up. I'm dressing the world up. And ever since my album came out, the sales went sky. It bugged out. It went up. So it's doing good. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And I just shot I'm shooting a video to it soon. But I've been shooting videos every day. My next video is the next song that you're about to talk about.
Well, hold on, because I'm going to bounce over song number 3, even though it's dope. But I wanted to get to number 4. So obviously your next video is going to be track number 3?
Yes, sir. It's already done.
Okay, cool. And the name of that one?
Wide Awake.
Wide Awake. So the next video is Wide Awake. Okay. So I want to get to the single off the album, or at least one of the first records you put out. So This is track number 4, and this is Slap Key. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Slap Key to me is the true story of Kid Capri, who you really are. It's kind of like an audio book, so to speak. What is your take on Slap Key?
Yeah, I wanted keep in mind my last album was 98. So everything people know me for is partying. Everything people know me for is, hypeness. And when I'm on a record, I'm hype on the record. I wanted people to take me serious. I didn't want to come out with a party record first. I didn't want to come out with something that people would expect it. So I wanted people to take me serious. That's why in the video, there's nobody in the video but me. It's no distractions. I'm inside of a club by myself, playing pool by myself, making my own drink, pouring my own drink, sitting there, just kicking it and being and showing humility and speaking to the people in a way where talk to your soul. I'm no better than you are. I'm letting you know that, but this is what I do. And this is how I move. So I wanted people to take that serious and then come with the party record. And had I came out with the party record first, then that's what everybody would expect it on my album. I didn't want that. I wanted to do something different. Absolutely. So Slap Key was the very first one I wrote and the very first one I put out.
Well, Slap Key came out of nowhere, but it kind of came off of, because you put out a freestyle called Free to the Style, right?
Well, I put Free to Style out 2 days after. I put Slap Key out the night I did Verzuz with KRS-One and Kane.
Right.
2 days later, I put Free to Style out, which Free to Style is not on my album. I'm about to drop a video to that too. But Free to Style, I put out for a certain reason. Something happened at Verzuz, and then some things were said on the net that wasn't the truth. But I just put Free to Style out to rebuttal some things, even though the record was already written. It just sounded like it was a rebuttal on what was going on at the time. So I put that out, and that let everybody know after Slap Key, especially battle rappers and people that with that pen, real rappers and real people that love hip hop, they really knew how serious I was with them bars on Free to Style. On Slap Key, it touched people's souls. Free to Style, hey, this kid's really serious now. He ain't playing. And then when I came out with the third single, which I'm sure you're going to talk about, that's when they knew the party was on, and then the album dropped.
Absolutely. So, it kind of, to me, it kind of threw everyone off because, I don't know, maybe everyone thought you were going to do, a DJ album with a lot of features, right? But,
Exactly.
but you come with Slap Key, and again, it's really talking about you. It's you solo, and it's really a dope way to put your foot forward. And then the free to style comes out, and it's like, oh, he's really rhyming. Like it's not, he's really rhyming. You know what I mean? So super dope, super dope. Let's go to the next record that I thought was a standout, and you might want to do a video for this one too. And this is Her Type. So now,
that video's coming after Wide Awake.
Okay, cool. Cause Her Type, this is a female record. It's dedicated to a female, and I believe it's a dope twist for you. Again, I don't think nobody's gonna expect it, but it's a dope record. Talk to me about Her Type.
Yeah, Her Type and Mood are my women. Well, VIP, kind of VIP too, but Her Type and Mood are definitely focused on the women, and it just shows another level of the album. It just shows that what you might think that you don't know, now you do know. I know how to speak to the women. I know how to speak to the hood. I know how to speak to the drug dealer. I know how to speak to the trap boy. I know how to speak to everybody. I know how to speak to the top hats and tail person. So you can't have an album and don't realize that it's your biggest buyers are your women and, kids. So, well, kids first and then the women. But, so you got to make something that talks to the women. And when it sounds sincere, when it doesn't sound like you trying to see the same thing, when you're making a record about a woman, it's the same thing. They can tell when you full of shit or when you gaming or when you telling the truth. And what you say out of your mouth is a representation of yourself. So everything I record is a representation of myself. It's really how I am and really how I will move with a woman. You know what I'm saying? So to put it the way I did and then have Lavelle on the hook, and even that gelled together. Everything with this album gelled together. The name of my album is called The Love, and on my R&B record, the name of the R&B artist is Lavelle, L-O-V-E-L. So
right.
When I was doing the album, they told me my album was going to be too long. My album was an hour and 1 minute. Kid Capri 101. It even gelled to that. Like, I didn't mean to do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, a lot gelled together for this album for me. From the time I started to the time I finished. And even after I put it out, billboards came. It's just different stuff. But Her Type definitely speaks to the female. And every female that hears this record, man, it's like, I wish my man thought like that. You know what I mean? So
it's a great radio record. It's a female record, and I'm sure the video is going to take it home. You know what I mean? And and here's the reason why I wanted to highlight these certain particular records. Every record, has its place. But again, I said you're a true triple threat. But it's not just your triple threat. You're a triple threat on a high level. And as you know, you've worked with the best MCs ever. Right? You know that to be an MC, you got to have depth. You can't just battle rhyme. You can't just freestyle rhyme. You got to make real songs, concepts, all those things. And you did it. And that's why I wanted to highlight some of these records, because you didn't just rhyme. You actually made good future classics and conceptual rhymes and songs which are dope. Okay, so Her Type is the first female record. By the way, number 9, WTF, super dope rap style. That's an honorary mention. But I want to get to the next female record, number 10. So you did Her Type, and now you got a different twist on a female record. Number 10, Handsome Woman. Tell me about this record and why.
I was in Miami one day. I used to have a crib in Miami for about 9 years, and I went to go get something to eat on Ocean Drive. And it was a lesbian day. It was a lot of manly looking women, like like the hard type lesbians. It wasn't like a bunch of pretty joints. It was like and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything against that.
Right.
But it was the men type of women that well, I should say the dominance. Let me just say that, okay? And I was sitting there and I'm saying, damn, man, all these women are like dudes, like they really like it's like that. And I remember there was one that had a semi pretty girl with her, and I said, yo, you got your girl with you, huh? And she slapped my hand. She was like, yeah, kid, hell yeah. She slapped my hand dumb hard. I was like, damn, she slapped my hand like a dude.
Okay.
So I sat there and I'm watching all these women going back and forth up Ocean Drive. I said, wow. I said, you look like some of these women look actually like men. I said, there's some handsome women out here. And it popped and the light bulb went in my head. This is 3 years before the pandemic. And it stayed in my head. I said, yo, one day I'm going to write a song about handsome women. I said, they always get the slack. They always get the bad part. I talk about them. I'm going to say something that's going to uplift them and make them feel like it's all right to be what they want to be. And that's when I decided to do the album, I went back and said, handsome woman, I got to figure out the right thing. I wrote that after I wrote, I think, The Business, After I finished The Business, I did Handsome Woman. And it came out like that. And the crazy thing is, the sample that I used, I played it over, but the sample that I took it from to play it over, I had called the people myself and cleared it in one day. They loved the record so much, they cleared it for me in one day.
Wow, that's dope. Yeah, that's dope. And that was the reason why I wanted to bring that one up, because, again, another concept record, not just a woman record, but a concept that people wouldn't think that would come from you, per se. You know what I mean?
Right.
So okay. Number 10, Handsome Women. I want to jump to number 12, Pon Me featuring Lexus. Obviously, legendary reggae artist, reggae style. Talk to me about this record.
Yeah, Pon Me was the last record I put on my album. I didn't have a tropical record. I didn't have nothing besides what I did on my album. And Pon Me was made for another album I did for myself, which I'm almost done, 97% done with that. But I said, at the last minute, I said, I don't have a reggae joint. I don't have nothing tropical on my joint. Maybe I should snatch Pon Me and put it on there. I called Lex. He was like, yes, you good. Because I told him first I wasn't putting on his album. He was like, yo, blood, what y'all do?
Right.
And then I went back and said, I'm going to put it on there. He was happy. So it was the last song I decided to put on the album. I sent the beat to Lex out in Jamaica. He heard the beat, went crazy, did his thing, sent it back. I went crazy. I wrote the hook of it, hey, guy, come lick up on me. Suck off, but don't get sick upon me. I wrote all that, but I sent it to him to do it. So if you listen to the record, it's him saying it first, then it's me and him saying it on the second part of it. So you'll hear him, and then in the same hook, you'll hear him, hey, girl, come lick upon me. Suck off, but don't get sick upon me. You like pull trick upon me? We'll go and pull trick upon me, or move quick upon me. Then me and him say it together. So listen to the record, you'll realize it. But then he came with his part, his middle part. I didn't expect him to do that. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, shit. And the record came out the way it did. And the ill thing is that it was one of the most streamed records so far on the album.
So you originally just expected him to do the hook, not a verse as well?
Exactly.
Right. It's a dope record, man.
I wasn't thinking that far at the time, but when he sent it, and that's why being with creative people or people that know their business, they can add to what you're doing. You don't have to do everything, even though I did everything. But when even like Lavelle, I sent the beat to Lavelle, he wrote it, recorded the whole thing, sent it back. I was like, wow, done. I played that record for Fabulous. Fabulous said, yo, kid, have Lavelle scat in the back of the song. And it's scat while you're rhyming. He said, have him scat behind you. I didn't have that in the record. So I went back in the studio. I sent it back to Lavelle. No, matter of fact, I told Lavelle to add that, and then he sent me that. And that's what you hear now. So Fabulous is the reason why he has the scats in the back of the song.
Super dope. It's a dope record. I mean, again, I'm highlighting these records for a reason. So Pon Me, Lexus, dope reggae record, incredible. Okay, number 13. This is what we thought we was going to get, and we got it. Uptown featuring Vina Love. Dope video, dope record. I love the bass line. I love the way the beat moves. This is exactly the epitome of Kid Capri. Now, your first album had a single called Apollo, right? So now we're paying respects to Uptown again. Harlem.
Yep.
Talk to me about the motivation behind this song and, the full creation. Talk to me about Uptown.
Well, like you said, the Apollo, I'm from Brooklyn. Well, I was born in Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx. I was born in Brooklyn. I was raised in the Bronx. I got on as Kid Capri in the Bronx. I started as Kid Capri in the Bronx, rather. But I got on and known in Harlem from selling my mixtapes.
Yes.
So that's why when I got my first album deal, I felt like it was respectful for me to salute something that had to do with Harlem, which was the Apollo. And because of the stories that my dad told me about the Apollo with James Brown, that's the reason why I put James Brown in the record. So it was the respect for Harlem. So all these years later, what do? Well, let's start here. The name of my album, the first album was called The Tape. This album was going to be called The Thumb Drive.
Okay.
Right. My cousin sent me that picture with me and my mother, and it made me change the whole thing into The Love. All right. But all these years later, I wanted to do the same thing I did on my first album because I rhymed on the whole album on my first album. So this is my second album. I'll be rhyming on the whole album. My last time I produced my whole album, so I didn't do no tribute to Uptown or Harlem or anything like that because I had other people on there. I was doing that. With this 30 years later, I felt like it would be dope to salute Uptown again, but speaking in the way where it's for every Uptown around the whole world. You know what I'm saying? It's tribute to Harlem, but when you say Uptown, Harlem is not the only Uptown. There's Uptowns everywhere. There's Uptowns in the Bronx. There's Uptowns in Kentucky. There's Uptown in New Orleans. That's why I wanted to get Lil Wayne and Peter Guns on the remix of Uptown. I haven't done it yet, but if I do it, shit's gonna be crazy.
Absolutely. I was gonna ask you, is there gonna be a remix for it? No question.
About doing it. I was thinking about doing it, but then I also had another side to saying sometimes you do remixes to make the record better, but I don't think that record could be better than what it is right now. And, I mean, we could probably do some verses or whatever, and that'd be dope, but the record is what it is. When you do a remix, it's to make the record go be better. I don't know if I can make it better than what I did on that, personally.
Well, maybe it's not a remix. Maybe it's a part 2, because I was also going to ask you, like, what do you think doing a deluxe version of the album, if you feel it's necessary, and throw some remixes or throw some other versions that may have not made it, if you feel it's necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's why I own my masters. So I could do whatever I want when I decide to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, keep in mind, I have to massage people's minds into me rhyming and me doing what I'm doing right now. This is not something that people program that I do every year. So
absolutely.
Right. So I have to reprogram people and let people see this is a whole new, different thing that people know me for. So I ain't kidding expecting people to say, yo, that's Capri, we're just going to accept it. No. They gotta live with it. And it's got to grow on its own naturally. I didn't expect the record to come out with no big blow up. Nothing like that. I don't have no big machine behind me to do that, to make sure it's like that and all that. I did everything on my own. So the slow grind is what I'm doing. I'm not doing the instant blow up. I'd rather be timeless than for the time. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, right. So with that being said, my state of mind is because the album is a body of work and it has a substance to it. It should last on its own. It should grow on its own and keep going. Especially, it's still doing what I'm doing to make people know about it. Because if no matter how good it is, if people don't know it's there, they're not going to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And my reach isn't going to be but so far because I don't have a major label behind me. So that's why I depend on the DJs. That's why I depend on the fans. I depend on the people to uplift it. When I did Soundtrack to the Streets. And I said on Drink Champs how I felt like the DJs that supported. I felt like, and you play what you want to play, but I felt like what I did was to try to uplift the DJ. Everything I did was to try to uplift the DJ and make us look like artists. You know what I'm saying? So right. I put this out. Why wouldn't you push the album? It's helping us. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I was coming from. Not so much for myself. It was for the DJ business. And that's what my whole career always been, trying to make us look like artists instead of somebody just playing records behind somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't understand why I didn't get the support I was supposed to get on Soundtrack to the Streets. Even though I listen to Soundtrack to the Streets today, it sounds like I just made that album. It's still a classic album. So, but what's interesting, kid, is that when I was listening to the full album, right? When the full album was done, track 19 went off. Track 1 of Soundtrack of the Streets started automatically through the streaming. And right. It threw me off because the first song that I heard was a record with you and Camp Low, right? And I said, oh, shit, is this a bonus track on the album? You know what I mean? Because it sounded like it just came out.
You know what I mean? So it's interesting that you said that, yes, soundtrack to the streets. Well, you know, and hopefully what'll happen is that once people, you know, continue to live with this album and listen to it, they'll go back to Soundtrack of the Streets. They'll go back to the tape and they'll say, you know what? He does have a body of work and he's a true artist. He's not just a DJ getting features, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But but however, again,
and keep in mind, Soundtrack of the Streets was the first album of its kind.
Right,
Before anybody else made an album like that, Soundtrack of the Streets was the beginning. You see what I'm saying? There was no other deep. First of all, let's start here. To have an album, my first album, Capri the Tape, as a rapper, and I was a DJ, that was unheard of. Let's start there. Let's see the significance of what that was. I wasn't even looking for an album deal. I wasn't a rapper. I was saying rhymes on my mixtapes because that's just the way I was designing my mixtapes, but I was never trying to be a rapper. I got hot in the street. Biz got me album deals when he could have gave anybody else that album deal that was credible as a rapper at that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he gave it to me, and I made the best of it, but that's not what I was looking to do. I wasn't a rapper. You see what I'm saying? So that was monumental within itself. Then to do the first album, Soundtrack to the Streets, with Jay, Nas, Busta, everybody on it, there wasn't another album like that. The only album that was like that was when Red Alert did an album where he was DJing records and he had MCs on the record while he was cutting the records. Yeah, he was the first to do that.
Right.
But besides that, the first DJ to produce the beats and put all the rappers together like that, that was Soundtrack to the Streets. Nothing came before that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in hip hop.
Right, right. So would you say that, like, what Red Alert was doing was kind of the template for what Flex did later, right?
Exactly.
And then what you did was literally the template for what Khaled did later, Drama and Clue and all of them, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So rest in peace to Biz Markie. I do understand that Biz gave you helped you get that shot on that first deal. And
yeah, his birthday too. His birthday's coming up.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace, Biz Markie. And I also understand that, you were also around that time, to just jump back, you were down with Lovebug Starsky around that time frame. Rest in peace to Lovebug. And
Chief Rock, Star Child, you mean?
Star Child, excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Lovebug Starsky was all cool, but Star Child was the one I started playing the SMS with.
Got you. My apologies. Okay, let's wrap up the album. So I got two more songs that I want to highlight before we wrap the album. Because all of this brings me to track 15. Let Me Talk. Straight hip hop. You just talking shit and a dope beat. Talk to me about that. Let Me Talk.
Yeah, I wanted to give that old feel back. Like I said at the beginning of the album, or the beginning of the song, it's time to bring that feel back. We come from hip hop, man. We come from that boom bap. We come from that sample Kaz sound. You know what I'm saying? We come from the Cold Crush tapes, the fantastic tapes. We come from that. And I wanted to bring that feeling back and let that be heard. We can't lose that feeling. We can't lose that history. We can't lose what that represents and what that's done for everybody to do what they're doing today. So you can't make an album called The Love and don't have where you come from on it. I come from that. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make sure that people heard it in the way I heard it. The way I heard it was, when you at a Cold Crush party, any party like that, any kind of group from back then, when you heard those tapes, or when you was at the party, you felt like you never wanted this shit to end. You felt like just raw. You felt like, you know what I'm saying? It felt like every place you was at was like a park jam, even though it was inside. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was trying to capture on Let Me Talk. And at the same time, if you remember, the second verse of Let Me Talk was the beginning of it. The first half of it is what I said on the verses. You could talk that OG shit if you want, right?
Right.
Right. That was and then on the verses, because it wasn't about me, I stopped the rhyme. I didn't mess up the rhyme. I didn't stutter. I just stopped the rhyme. But that was the rhyme I said.
Dope. And by the way, there's some scratching on the album too, which is wonderful. Do you know what I mean? for a DJ album again.
Hear that no more, but you don't really hear that on mainstream records no more.
That's right, absolutely. So let's talk another dope record. Okay, track number 16, The Promise. This is like an open letter to hip hop to me. Talk to me about The Promise. This is the last record that I want to highlight. Again, there's 19 tracks on the album, a full body of work, but number 16, The Promise. Talk to me about that.
The Promise was a record, a spiritual advisor said that I talked to. His name is PH. He said, I heard you doing an album. I said, yeah. He said, make sure you put a record on the album called The Promise. So I'm not going to tell you what the record is about. He said, well, make sure you put a record on there called The Promise. I said, The Promise? He said, yeah. He said, that's going to be the record that's going to round your album off. He said, that's going to be the record that everybody's going to be like, wow. I was like, okay. So I sat there, was thinking, why would he tell me to do that? And then and something happened. Something, I can't remember what it was. Something happened, and a light bulb went in my head. I said, I'm going to make it the last song on the album. And if it's the last song, then that means you got to give them an outro. The outro got to be something that touches their heart, something that's real, something that everything on my album is real, ain't nothing fabricated, but it's something that means something to them, something that they could, that it's something that got to do with family. The name of the album is The Love. So how you round it off at the end? If it's the end, you got to go out with a bang. It's got to be about love. It's got to be about your family. It's got to be about, you know what I'm saying? You know, life, period. You started off with a life record, ended off with a life record. You see what I'm saying? Everything gelled.
Absolutely. That's why
Right.
that's why I wanted to highlight those particular records, because again, we just kind of broke down about 60 to 75% of the album, song for song. And again, there's songs in between that are banging and that are just as good. I just wanted to highlight some of these records that stood out to me because, again, this is a full body of work, 19 songs, The Love album. Kid Capri, No Kidding Records, okay? It's your own record label. You self-produced the whole album. You rhymed on the whole album. Only got 3 features, right?
No mainstream artists. I think if I'd have played this album or quarter this album for any mainstream artist, or nearly any mainstream artist, they probably been obliged to be a part of the album. But I just wanted to do it on my own, man.
Absolutely. And the point of highlighting these particular records is because I wanted to show the depth of where you went. You know, you did just regular rhyming hip hop records. You did conceptual records. You did records for the women. You did dance records. You did a club record called Uptown. I mean, it's a full body of work, and I think it's a future classic. Okay. So that's the Love album. Now, with all that being said, kid, I understand you got another album in the can called Top Tier with all the top battle MCs. Is this album coming out anytime soon?
I started Top Tier first. I started Top Tier 4.5 years ago. The reason why I did Top Tier is because 10 years ago, I started working with the battle rappers. No artists or nobody known was helping these dudes. It was just them doing it in the video shops. You know, when Smack was doing the DVDs, but Smack had came out of battle rap for at that time. And I was seeing all these battles in these video shops. And I'm saying, yo, why is nobody investing money in this? This should be on television. These dudes is brilliant. Like, this is incredible. I'm seeing myself watching battle rap for hours and hours at a time. So I called Loaded Lux and told him I wanted to shoot something with him. Shoot a thing for HBO. We shot a half-hour show battle, and we was gonna bring it to HBO. We went and showed it at the AMC Theater. I had KRS, Rakim, and Big Daddy Kane as my judges, and flew them all. Well, Kane and Chris was already here. Chris was already here, and Rakim was already here. I flew Kane in. Well, Rakim came from where he lived at, and then I flew Kane in. They came to judge it. They enjoyed that whole thing. It was hot. Everybody was sweating. But they stayed to the end. I had it all catered. I had a big television outside so the people outside that couldn't get inside could watch it. Mm-hmm. All the outside enjoyed it. It was really a dope day. We went and showed it at the AMC Theater. This kid rolled up on me with a DVD saying that, you know, your man Loaded Lux sent me all the sold me the outskirts of the joint. So me and Lux had a problem with that. I had a problem with Lux with that. So me and him just deaded the whole thing. And then one day I just was watching the battle and I seen somebody throw $10,000 at a battle with that one. And I said, why he didn't take that $10,000 and throw it to battle rap period and do a project on them. This is a mogul, right? I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And 80% of the battle rappers I didn't even know, but I got all of them, got in touch with all of them, brought them in my studio, and we did this album called Top Tier. And the album is crazy. And I didn't put it out because at the time music had kind of changed a little bit. So I said, you know what, it's not time for it. Let me just wait. And after that, the quarantine hit, you know what I'm saying? It's a couple years later. So it was like, I need to do something else before I do Top Tier to bring the attention to Top Tier.
Right.
Even though these battle rappers got millions of fans with no radio play all over the world, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really need the radio or nothing like that because that wasn't even my intent when I made the album, for no radio, nothing. Even with this album, The Love, my whole idea was to go around the DJs that didn't want to support it, make it dope enough that the internet would just support it, and then the DJs will come to it, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? But when I did Top Tier, I wanted to make it was strictly for battle rap fans to keep it up, and then if anybody come afterwards, you know, and support it, cool. But it was for the battle rap fans and to show that battle rappers can make records because they had a stigma that they couldn't make records for a long time, which is the truth. A lot of them couldn't because a lot of the producers that they knew would give them the beat, let them go record it, and they would concentrate on the rhymes being dope and not the record being dope. Nowadays, battle rappers are making better records. So Top Tier is just going to add to that now. It's just going to, and me and Smack is getting together. We're talking about getting it together, doing it together to get it out to the world and make sure everybody knows it's there. But it's a dope album, incredible album. I produced the whole joint. I rhymed, I think, on maybe one record or two records, maybe. One record, I think. And well, maybe two records. I kind of like getting little spurts. I ain't really do nothing crazy. But the whole album was crazy, man.
Well, obviously Top Tier is going to be coming out sooner than later, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I just finished redoing 6 of them.
Okay.
So it will be out there. It will be out soon. That the hoodies, I did an album on the hoodies. I know people on the hoodies, people on the internet love the hoodies. So I just finished producing their whole joint. I got an artist named Fuchs I'm working with right now. 17-year-old Jewish kid. This kid's gonna be a big star, man. Big dude. And then I got the other 2 albums I did. So I got a lot of work. I'm way ahead of myself, and I did all this in the pandemic, pretty much.
Well, I was going to ask you, that was another question that I had, was what other projects do we have to look forward to from Kid Capri?
Well, in the pandemic, I started my sucker-free clothing line, which is doing good. We started our real estate company, East Coast Capital Realty, which is doing extremely good. We're selling $1.23 million houses, $2.3 million houses, stuff like that. Hotels and stuff like that. So we are 5-star in Zillow, so we're doing really good. We're doing really good. We work with EXP, and that's like the biggest realty company across the nation. So we have a lot of work, a big portfolio. I sold a couple of artists some houses, and they're really happy about their houses, and it's really doing good. So that's going good. I did a cartoon. I made a cartoon about my dog Pipsqueak.
Is that the dog? Is that the dog that was just barking a minute ago?
Yeah. Well, I got 2 dogs. That's one of them. But I made a cartoon about him, and that's we're working with that. I did a movie called Mr. Every Ever. As a matter of fact, before Mr. Every Ever, I'm on another cartoon. I'm on the Proud Family. The Proud Family cartoon?
Yes, sir.
I'm a character on there, so you're going to be singing that. I don't even know if I should be singing that, but I'm telling you.
Okay.
And then also, what I just said out before that, I said
Well, this was another question of mine because I know there's rumors out there. Talk to me about your film, Mr. Every Era.
Yeah, Mr. Every Era. Yeah, so I'm 95% done with that. I started that like a year and a half before the pandemic. So documentaries is dope because of the stories, and that's why there's unsung and all these different things, because people want to hear the rise and the fall. They want to hear everything that in between. But one thing that they do leave out in a lot of documentaries is how cinematic it could be. So
right.
we made this very cinematic. It's not just the story, it's the visual. You look at it, it's gonna be like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So that's coming. And I can't think of everything right now, but we have it's so many things. I got things I can't really talk about. But my thing is that I'm real. Sometimes I speak about stuff, and sometimes I like to do things and let it just come out.
Absolutely, no problem.
Nobody's seen Slap Key coming.
Right.
Nobody's seen when I was gonna be on the Kendrick album coming. That just came. Nobody's seen, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody's seen when I was gonna be in the Tupac movie. Nobody's seen Def Con. Like all these different things that I try to do. You got to leave an element of surprise. Sometimes it's better that way. It just pops out. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have to talk about everything. You know, I just told you a number of things I probably wouldn't have told nobody else. But
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but sometimes you just got to do your work, man. And when you tell people things, sometimes you get a lot of appeal. I'm gonna tell you this: when I did my album, Silver D, my brother Silver D, this is my brother. Okay, Silver D's on the cover of my first album. He's the middle guy on the first album tape. When I told him I was doing the Love album, he was like, "Word, that's dope. Who's on it?"
Nobody.
Nobody. He's like, "Nobody want to hear you rhyme, kid." I was like, "Damn, you didn't hear the album yet?" He was like, "Nobody. Come on, nobody." I was like, "All right, cool." Then I called Snoop and I played Slap Key for Snoop. Mm-hmm. And Snoop said, "Oh, Jay, I've been smoking weed, calling women bitches, cripping, all this shit, and I put out a gospel album and it went number one. First of all, what am I doing putting out a gospel album out? And number two, what is it doing going number one?" He said, "Don't let nobody tell you what you can and can't do." He said, "I love Slap Key." He said, "Go ahead and do what you want to do." When he said that, that was the key to everything.
That was it, right?
That was the key to everything. But keep in mind, when I put Slap Key out, if it didn't do good, if I'd have got any kind of bad, negative anything, my album would have never seen the light of day. Y'all would have never heard this album.
Okay.
Because I knew that I wouldn't have been accepted, but I knew what I had. I knew what it sounded like. You know what I'm saying? I knew there was, kid rhyming. Like, I knew it was going to get that, or, I'm not used to it, or.
Right.
But what's good is good. And I knew what I have. You know what I'm saying? So I played stuff for different artists. Before I made any decisions, I made sure I played it for people that sold platinum records, young and old. You know what I'm saying? Different artists. And I would sit there and let them listen to it. I remember one time I walked into a hotel room in Florida. Yeah, Florida. Mm-hmm. In Miami. And I get to the room. I open the door. I see somebody's bags there. So I figured they gave me the wrong key. I went to go turn around. And the person was like, "Yo, kid." And it was CeeLo Green sitting at the table in the room. They gave me the key to his room. Right? So I said, "Oh shit, CeeLo." He was like, "Yo, kid." Sat there, played the album for him. He said, "Yo, kid, this is the type of shit I want to make." He was like, "I'm jealous. This is it." He said, "Nobody sees this coming." Him. Like, just so many artists that called me when I called him and played it. Like, there's one particular artist I played it for him. He was like, "Yo, kid, you're better than me." He was like, "Yo, you better than me, bro." And this artist come from Rockefeller. He was like, "Yo, you better than me." He was like, "This shit, this nobody sees this coming." He was like, "I can't believe what I'm hearing."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
absolutely.
Grand Puba, me and Puba have 3 records together. We never performed none of them, never one time. But I played my album for Grand Puba. He said, "Okay, you always could rhyme. You always been dope." He said, "But when you rhyme before, you always sound like you was DJing." He said, "This shit is different."
Yeah.
This is different. This is melodies. This is, you different. This is great. So I knew what I had before I put it out. I made sure of it.
Well, again, that's the reason why I wanted to break it down, because I totally agree. And I felt honored because you called me before you released it. I was honored that I was one of the calls, you know what I mean? But you called me and you played most of the album for me, and I couldn't believe you were rhyming on the whole album. I was like, because I knew you were a dope producer, even though I don't think you get the right credit, but I knew you produced dope records for KRS and Snoop. And then, of course, I heard, soundtracks of the streets in the 90s. So I knew the beats were going to be dope. I did not know you were going to rhyme the whole album and rhyme to that level. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
So that's why I wanted to highlight certain records and not just talk about the motivation of the album, because, again, you got DJs looking at the album. How can I do it better? How's he doing it? Now you got MCs looking at the album going, damn, now I got to contend with him too? on the mic. You know what I mean? So, again, salute to you, and it's very, very, very interesting. And I just wanted to, tell you thank you, man, for making the album and allowing me to interview you to talk about the album. So, with that being said, by the way, I also understand that you used the machine to produce this album. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Using the machine for the whole album.
Now, I want to remind you about something, kid. You might not remember this.
Mm-hmm.
I helped with the East Coast DC promotion, radio-wise, for the Master of the Mix. I did an event in DC that you and Scratch came to in DC for Master of the Mix. You came up to me. I don't know why we had this conversation, but you said to me, yo, Rip, can you help me get the machine? And I told you I'm gonna get it for you, because I was working with Native Instruments, because I used to produce out the core DJ retreats and all the DJ events.
Yes, sir.
And I had them send you one, and you got it. Now,
yes, sir.
I'm not saying that that's the same one you did this album on. However,
the one that you sent me, I have the same type, the same exact one on that I take on the road with me.
Right.
That's the one I'm on the road with.
Okay. So again, I wasn't saying that was the one you did the album with. However, I did want to remind you that I do remember getting you one of those machines.
Yes, you did. Absolutely. And you know what? The one that you got me, I carried that shit on the road for about 2 months and didn't know how to use it. I just would have it sitting there in front on the road just to look at it. I didn't know what to do with it. And one day I called my man Nick Wiz, producer, and I asked, and he knew, he's a master at machine. He came over here and showed me. And ever since that day, I've been good. But I had it for about 2 months, 2.5 months, carrying it all around the country when I go do my shows, and didn't know how to use it. I had a little stand that I put it on. I was so gassed on this machine. And, I'm an MPC dude. I have all the MPCs.
Right.
I started on an MPC, but machine, it gets me there. What I'm trying to do, it gets me there so much quicker. It's just better for me. And then, I got to deal with Native Instruments, the people that run machine.
Right.
I did 2 music kits for them. I did the very first go-go music kit for them. It's on sounds.com.
Nice,
so
nice.
I owed them another one. I gotta do another one. I'm gonna do something real special. But the go-go joint was in it was a top 5 seller, the top 5 downloader rather.
Wow. Well, so I just wanted to throw out there that I got to take a little credit for Kid Capri's machine, journey.
Absolutely. You get that credit for sure.
No question, man. And look, and I had the honor to work with you at the Global Spin Awards and the Master of the Mix a little bit. And by the way, the top tier, I do remember you inviting me to an event you did in Harlem in a record store or something, and Redman was there, and it was insane with the battle rapping. So I know the top tier thing is incredible, and I know that album is going to be incredible. Okay, so Kid, we're saying all of that. From 1987 to now, 2022, real estate, clothing lines, national tours, TV, movies, albums, endorsement deals. I mean, everything under the sun that any DJ, hip-hop artist or artist can accomplish. Grammys, everything. What keeps you motivated and to keep doing it at this high of a level in 2022?
I love what I do. It's not no game. It never has been, and it never will be. I didn't do it for the wrong reason. I did it when there was no money. You see what I'm saying? Like, people getting this thing for the wrong reason. They're getting it for money. They're getting it for the girls. They're getting it for fame, whatever. I didn't get it for none of that. I got it because it was a hobby that we really loved doing, and we brought equipment out in the street to DJ in the rain and pull crowds of people who be out there in the rain watching us DJ while our stuff is blowing up. While our stuff is getting wet, our stuff is blowing up, getting ruined, nobody paying for it. We got to bring the stuff out there. We got to bring the stuff back in the house. We traveled in cabs to go to DJ for $50. I did it all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Any of this. So me contributing what I did to the DJ business was only right because of what I did before I was even known. You see what I'm saying? I have a whole life of being a DJ before anybody even knew who Kid Capri was. You see what I'm saying? So it's different than somebody that come in 2 years ago and now they popping. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the same appreciation and the same struggle that I've had. You know what I'm saying? I look at it totally different. So when I pop my shit or if I say something, you know what I'm saying, it ain't coming from a bad place. It's coming from what I've done in this business and what I've done my whole life. I gave my whole life to it. You know what that means? I gave my whole life to this business, to the DJ culture. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I should have been had a star on the Walk of Fame. I should have been had an award. I should have been, like, there's certain things I should, but who am I to say that? I get what God gives me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't give to get. I do it because I love what I do. And that's why it shows in this music I do. It shows when I'm on stage. It shows with anything I do because I really love it. That's why the Love album is the way it is, because I'm not going to settle for nothing less. I'm not going to let nobody tell me when to come and go. I'm not going to let nobody tell me I'm too old to do this and too old to do that. I'm not going to let nobody tell me any of that. I'm dope at what I do. I'm great at what I do, and I know it. You know what I'm saying? And it's God-given. It has nothing to do with me. It's God. God made it for me like that. And that's for anybody that feels they are great. Anybody that you feel you great at what you do, you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? But you got to produce. You can't throw around the word legend. You can't throw around the word, icon, all these different things that you want to throw around because you feel like you've been around a long time. No, it's what you've done. It's what you've done that makes you a legend. It's what you contribute to culture that makes you a legend. Not because you've been here a long time. It's what you've done to change people's lives and make people. I've had people walk up to me, yo, kid, I ain't going to nobody's window no more. I ain't robbing nobody. I took your path. I followed what you did. You influenced me so much that I ain't got to rob nobody no more. I can go and take care of my family. When you hear shit like that, that's more than money.
Absolutely.
You know Absolutely. You're actually changing people's lives. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've done, and that's my contribution to the music and my contribution to God.
And the best answer to the question is, I love doing it. And guess what? David Love, a.k.a. Kid Capri, the album is out now. It's called the Love Album, and it's nothing but hip-hop love through and through, 19 tracks. It's a classic. And how can our listeners continue to follow you?
Kid Capri 101 on the Twitter and the Instagram, The Real Kid Capri on Facebook. I'm on the TikTok. I'm on the Clubhouse. I'm all in the Matrix, man. I'm right there. And I answer my own stuff.
Also, you have a radio show on Sirius. Talk to me about it really quickly.
Yeah, I've been on there. Had this show for 5.5 years. I started doing it when they seen in 2015 and 2018 when I was doing the IG and Facebook Live and Periscope shows, the Block Party Live mixtape and No Panties Sundays. They asked me to come to Sirius and do what I wanted to do, and that's the only way I would have came anyway. So I played 90s to early 2000s in the first 4 hours, all the hottest records of those times, and then that's at 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I play everything new to old and everything in between, and you'll hear records on there from artists that are not known, but the record is dope. You'll hear me play a record. You'll hear me play Young and May, and then you might hear Al Green afterwards. You know,
Right.
That's how my show is structured, like a block party. That's why it's called the Block Party. When you go to a block party, everybody's invited. You hear all kind of music, and nobody's age matters. No matter how you look matters. Everybody enjoys the neighborhood. So that's what I wanted the show to feel like. And that's what it feels like. And there hasn't been a radio show like this that I know of where you can hear everything, not just a certain thing or a certain era or, it's everything. And then what makes it even great is when I listen to the show myself, old stuff I make sound relevant. New stuff I make sound classic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the formula of the show, to make everything be a balance, no matter if it's new or old.
Super, super dope. Sucker Free clothing line. How can they get it?
Suckerfree.com, baby. SUCKA, Sucker Free. All the go-getters want to come fuck with me.
Yeah. See, the song is amazing. Super dope. So listen, the Love album is out now. Slap Key, Uptown, the singles. Suckerfree.com for the clothing line. every Saturday on Sirius Fly, The Block Party, Kid Capri. Top tier album is coming. So many other things are coming. The movies, the real estate. It's all amazing. Kid Capri, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love the Love album. Thank you for allowing me to peel back your layers and interview you for Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. And you have been listening to the legendary DJ, the legendary artist, the legendary producer, one of one, the icon, DJ Kid Capri.
My pleasure.
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music.
Yeah, baby doll, yo, MTV Raps, up in Harlem, 125th Street with my man right here.
King Capri, what's up?
Yeah, the King Capri. He's one of New York's largest DJs, and he came up the hard way, hardcore hip-hop style. That's why we up here on 125th Street to find out where my man emerged from. Where we at, man?
Oh, we at C&J's Music Tape Record Shop. This is where all the uptown DJs come out of and whatnot. They come in there, they practice or whatever, you know, when they do their thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And so we're going to explain this whole scene. This is our hardcore hip-hop scene right here in New York. All about some DJs, you know what I'm saying? The roots of hip-hop. My man Kid Capri. We're going to go into his video.
The Apollo?
The Apollo?
The Apollo.
Yo, take a look, y'all. We be back after this. Yo, on TV Raps. It's real cool. And like we saying, my man's a DJ. That's his core, like one-man show. So Kid Capri, give us a little demonstration how you do that.
By all means necessary, it's the Kid Capri. And as we put it on a little something like this for the Uptown crew.
And the fast pace could ever offer me. When I look back, baby, you've always been there for me. Something in the way you make me feel, ain't no doubt about it. I wanna shout